Right now, late this afternoon, major movement, breaking story as it relates to marriage equality in New Jersey. It is still not quite allowed by law, but that will not stop the wedding bells from ringing out. We'll explain and get your reaction. And next, after the shutdown, more reactions to standoff that ended with a whimper and more worries about what's next for the Tea Party. And later, name the most popular president since 1950. Here's a hint. Neither of these two guys. So what makes some presidents more memorable and likable years later, while others, they end up as punchlines in history books? Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Thanks for joining us this Friday evening, October 18th. What a week, right? Well, we begin not in Washington, but with developing news out of New Jersey, a major milestone for marriage equality, but not exactly legalizing same-sex marriages. And I want to start with the very latest. I want to bring in a senior political correspondent, Andrew Whitman, and this kind of broke this afternoon. It's been a developing story, but we got at least, if not closure, at least a major statement from the court.
Certainly a major step towards that closure, Rich. And here's the distinction in today's ruling from the New Jersey State Supreme Court. The court did not determine today that same-sex marriages are legal or that failing to recognize them, as the state currently does, is unconstitutional. Instead, the court announced that until it does decide those matters, same-sex couples must be allowed to get married. A lower court had ruled last month that the state must recognize same-sex marriages, and it had set Monday as the date for them to start. Chris Christie, the governor, appealed and asked for that order to be stayed or delayed pending the final decision. The Supreme Court rejected that request today, with Republican justices, including Christie appointees, agreeing. It's not a guarantee that the court will decide to legalize same-sex marriages after it hears the case this coming January, but you would think it would be a pretty big hint. Today's decision makes New Jersey the 14th state in the nation, plus Washington, D.C., to legalize same-sex marriages, albeit temporarily. Though you can see on the map here, very regional where those decisions are. New England and the Northeast, the West Coast, and you got the two states, Minnesota and Iowa, in the Midwest. And right now, that is it. No public comments on the decision yet from Governor Christie, who has had to do some political tap dancing on this issue. But we did get a statement from the governor's press secretary today, quote, "The Supreme Court has made its determination. While the governor firmly believes that this determination should be made by all the people of the state of New Jersey, he has instructed the Department of Health to cooperate with all municipalities in effectuating the order of the Superior Court under the applicable law." The governor and even the court beaten to the punch today by outgoing Newark Mayor and U.S. Senator-elect Cory Booker, who, among other municipal leaders in the state, had announced before the court's ruling that he would marry 10 same-sex couples on Monday, despite at that point in the day having no legal basis to do so. Rich?
Andrew, thank you very much. And for a reaction to today's decision by the New Jersey Supreme Court, we are joined live by Mike Premo. He is a campaign manager for New Jersey United for Marriage. Mike, thank you for joining us. And is it premature to say congratulations? Do we need to wait till, I guess, February or January here?
Well, today is a great day, and this has been a terrific ruling by the court. We couldn't be more happy. But you're right. This is a temporary decision, and the fight goes on both in the courts and the legislature. And we are not going to stop until we guarantee the freedom to marry for all loving and committed couples in New Jersey.
Just one more legal question, then we'll get into the human aspect of this. It seemed by all intents, as Andrew just read the quote there from the governor, that the governor will not stand in the way. This thing will not be appealed to the highest court of the land. So come the first quarter of next year, when this is resolved and all but upheld by the Supreme Court, there it is. It is the law, at least of New Jersey. That's, for the layman's purposes, basically going to be the letter of the law, right?
Yes, I mean, as it stands right now, folks are going to be able to get married starting on Monday, and that's going to continue until the court hears the arguments in January, or the legislature overrides the governor's veto of marriage equality legislation. But we think either way, either through the courts or through the legislature, marriage equality will be the law of the land. All
right, now put a human face on this, Mike. If you could, talk about real people here, how today's decision means so much to people, and if you could, try and put it as much as you can into human terms of people you know.
Sure. I mean, we've been on the phone all day with couples across the state who have been waiting for this, in some cases for decades. They've been in loving and committed relationships, and they've been waiting for this moment, and this is a very emotional day for all of us. We're grateful that the court made this decision, and we're going to be even more grateful and emotional when these folks start getting married on Monday.
To anyone at home who says, hey, this is just a piece of paper, tell them why it's not.
You know, you could talk about the rights and protections that are extended to married couples that are not extended to civil union couples, but I think that it comes down to a basic level of fairness. When you have a couple that's in a civil union, they're being told by the state of New Jersey that they're different, that they're not quite as good as other couples. And we think that's not true. We think that's not fair. And we think that all loving and committed couples should enjoy the same level of protection and responsibilities under the law, regardless of their sexual identity.
Mike, it's Andrew Whitman. Just a quick question from my end. Does it matter to you, and do you think it matters to a lot of same-sex New Jersey couples, whether this is done by a court or by a vote of a referendum or by the governor and the legislature, or does it not make a difference to you?
Well, first of all, I think the idea of a referendum is basically dead. But I think if you ask couples, they don't care if it comes through the courts or through the legislature. It's however we get there quickest. And we believe that the quickest way to get there is through an override vote in the legislature, which we're very confident is going to happen this year, and we're very confident is going to be successful. Today's court opinion and the marriages starting on Monday is only going to add to the momentum that we've built over the last months and the years of tireless work by advocates and couples who have been fighting for this. So we think that either way is fine. It's just however we get there quickest.
Mike, finally for me, I know this has been a battle that you guys have waged for a long time, but just go back 2 years ago, the velocity of this issue, and I have a hard time finding other social issues that have moved this fast. And on national polling, especially when you look at age demographics, the younger generation, they don't even understand what the fuss is about. Can you just articulate just how quickly it went from, well, maybe we'll be able to get a civil union to now, it's when, not if, across this country, people are going to acknowledge same-sex marriages?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. The shift in public support in favor of marriage equality has been dramatic. I mean, just a few years back, it was supported, you know, the polling was in the 40s, and now over 60% of New Jerseyans support the freedom to marry for all loving and committed couples. I'd be hard-pressed to think of any issue that the shift has been so dramatic and so quick over the years. And as you rightly point out, the younger generation, the polling is off the charts. The support is overwhelming. They don't understand what the fuss is about, and to them it's just a basic matter of fairness and equality. And I think that's why you've seen such a dramatic shift, is that people have been starting to get it, that it really is just about basic fairness and equality. All people are asking is to be able to marry the person they love. And there's really no downside to this. There's a tremendous upside in that loving and committed couples will be enjoying the same rights and benefits as other couples, but there's no downside. This is it's a win-win situation, and it's becoming the consensus opinion in New Jersey, and I think that support is only going to continue to grow.
Mike, I know you got a lot of things going on this evening. I appreciate you taking a few minutes, and if I'll editorialize for a minute, a long overdue decision here, and congratulations in order. I know you put in a lot of work on this. Thank you for a few.
Thank you very much. But the work continues. We're celebrating tonight and going right back to work tomorrow.